and do an impromptu live and talk to you about attention and why is it so hard and what is attention and what that kind of esoteric authors did when they were talking about attention in the biblical mystical sense, what's going on neuroscientifically, and maybe even give you some tips on how to actually go in and create scenes where you can focus a little bit more. Okay. So what I want to do though is talk to you about how attention today is a currency, right? So it is a form of money. Obviously you can't pay or buy things with it, but you are, right? What do I mean? Well, of course you can't full on grab your wallet and then take out some attention and end up pay for something, right? Like we do with the green stuff here in America, right? Or whatever that color of money is in your country, okay? But the reality is that we are buying things, right? We are. This is what Neville really is getting at in his lecture on the coin of heaven, which was inspired by his wife having a dream about how we spend and invest our time and attention and emotions and senses, the inner senses and the outer senses. I just wrote an article on Reddit. Go check that out under OK Initiative, where I'm talking a little bit more about what we're deep diving into today, which is about what is attention and why is it important to understand attention? Well, in today's economy, and when I say economy, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the way in which society looks at attention and the way in which we have algorithms who are literally made. And I know this because I used to do social media marketing. Okay. And so I had to study about algorithms. I had to know what they were doing, why they worked with certain content and why other pieces of content didn't work. This is very key, by the way, because when you understand the metaphor of what's happening now in the world in terms of social media and attention and understanding how our attention works when it comes to manifestation, this is like some of the deepest gold I can ever give to you. Okay? So when you understand that your attention, what you give your attention to, is a form of currency. And whatever you give your attention to is buying into the experience. It is like buying a ticket and you're now sitting on the train, and that train is going to be taking you somewhere where either you want to go or where you don't want to be. Right? And so, and you may be already on that path. You may be already on that trail. You may be already on that train, in that car, right? In the passenger seat rather than in the driver's seat. And you're using your attention, focusing on things you don't want to be experiencing. Okay? And so you have to understand that what we call attention, right? What you're focusing on is always amplifying. So that's the relationship, okay? There's a relationship between focus and amplification. There isn't a separation between the two. Focus is on a spectrum that always leads to amplification, okay? So that is a much better way to understand attention as focus. So let me break it down for you. It goes spectrum, which really what I want you to hear is it's a long line that doesn't have an ending, right? But it does have a beginning, and the beginning is focus, okay? So the focus goes here, you're on your trail, on your track, and then that turns into attention, and you're along the track. Sorry, that's what I think a train sounds like. And then the attention, which is energy, right, is ultimately transformed and transferred into your form of experience. Okay, so you have focus, attention, experience. So if you're reading or watching, put that down. Focus, attention, experience. This is how it works. This is the science of it. Okay, and that's what leads me to what I want to talk about today in terms of helping you understand what's going on in the human mind when we're trying to use attention. Because I always approach this as, hey, I'm giving you information that will help you amplify your skills as a manifester. Okay. So remember, if you're just jumping on, and thank you for jumping on, is focus, attention, right? Experience. That's how attention works, okay? But you have to understand that the way it works is as a currency. You're always buying something, okay? Even me focusing on teaching and loving what I do, that's amplifying that, okay? Now, if I went and did something that I felt like I needed to do because that's the way society said I needed to do it, my parents said, there's social pressure, there's religious pressure, that's going to amplify that, okay? So Now that we got the kind of trajectory or the spectrum of how attention works, because attention, what precedes it or comes before it, isn't just more attention, it's your focus. Focus births attention, attention births experience. Okay, that's how this works. That's how one relates and creates the other. And there is linkage. There is a relationship between them. There is not separation in between them. Okay, that's how one leads to the other. It's very key. Why? Because now we're going to deep dive into the science and the neuroscience and the brain science behind what is happening when we are using our attention. So according to research, right, a lot of our attention is fueled by our motivations, okay? Now I'm gonna explain to you what that means, but it is fueled by what we are motivated by, okay? Now, motivation isn't just I can do this, or I am motivated to get up in the morning, or I'm motivated to go on a run. That's not just, that's like a very surface level understanding of what motivation is, especially as it relates to attention, and especially as it relates to becoming a better manifester, okay? So what you are dealing with is this concept that attention isn't just attention, right? Because a lot of people hear this, and especially when they're trying to manifest, and they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, as long as I'm kind of mainly attending to or giving my attention to the dominant thought of having it, right? Which is great. That's not untrue, but it's not superb. It is not the way in which you get better and better at this game of life called manifestation, okay? And so when you look up the definition, or when you look up the science of attention, you understand that our attention, human attention, is more like a spotlight. So what's happening though is that the spotlight is hyper-focusing. So you have to think of attention as a form of hyper-focus. Okay, hyper-focus, like, you know, Star Wars at the beginning, like of the original Star Wars, and how, or even Spaceballs, right? And how it zooms through, and you're seeing all of these stars, but you don't even see the fullness of the stars. You just see like the blurred stars, and you don't really actually get to see the actual fullness of what you're experiencing. You're only experiencing a fraction, right? So the Apostle Paul says that we look through a glass darkly. That's kind of what's happening here with the human attention span, but also with what is happening in the kind of scientific exploration of what is occurring when you're attending or when you're giving your attention to something. Okay, now I'm gonna also, and now we're gonna come back to that word attending, because you're gonna actually get a tip out of this and a strategy out of this. Okay, so make sure that you stay on, because I'm going to give you a tip and strategy on how to either control your focus, guide your focus, and sustain your focus internally, okay? But when you understand that attention is also going on in your mind and it's a spotlight, right? Hey, X, hey, good to see you, good to see you. Yeah, I'm having a great time, actually. And so what I want to do, though, is I want to give you this awareness of what's occurring with attention. So attention isn't, hey, like, even though I can see peripherally, you're not giving your attention to those things outside of what's in front of you. Okay, this is the same with what's going on in your life, okay? You actually can't do that. You can, what's going on here when you, for example, where I'm at right now, I can see a red card on my right, but here's the thing. My brain's filling in that rest of whatever is happening based on prior information, based on past information, based on past experience, okay? Why? Because like about 20 minutes ago, I was driving by and there was a red car right here, okay? So then it was to my right, so then my brain is filling that in with the information based upon my past experience. This is key, okay? I don't hear anybody talking about this in any of the manifestation world, okay? Because you really, really have to hone in on what's going on with your attention, okay? But your attention and what it's spotlighting is always, okay? Is always predicated on your past experiences. So if you have a fear, if you have an interpretation, if you have a behavior that you're trying to hack or break or whatever it is, you cannot look to the present. You have to look to the past. And I know, yes, we say in manifestation, the past doesn't exist, the future doesn't exist, it's only now. I get why they're saying that, and we're gonna have probably a future talk on why that is. But for understanding what we do and memories and trying to hack those and revise those according to Neville Goddard's technique, right, then we need to be fully aware of what we've expressed prior to what we're experiencing now. Because all we're experiencing now is, yes, everything that we've accepted in our past, but it's still shaped and molded us. And that is now telling us what to spotlight. Okay, so you have to be fully aware of what you're spotlighting, what you're attending to, right, is ultimately what you've been told you should be attending to, whether that be through your religious groups, through your social groups, through your own practices and behaviors and habits that you've repeated. Okay, so that is ultimately what you are doing, right? You are connecting and relating to and spotlighting whatever it is that you've ever experienced. And that's telling you how to interact with this moment, the next moment, and the next moments that are coming tomorrow, the next day, and so on, unless you change and alter your past. Hence why revision is like a superpower, like in Neville's work, okay? So on top of this, right, when you hear the word attending, okay, I really, really want you to think of someone like a gas attendant or even like a busboy. Okay. Or, when you go into like the Waldorf Astoria or like a really high end like hotel, there'll be like a bellboy or a bellhop, right? And so, hi Sandra, welcome to the channel. And so what I want you to think of is I want you to think of one of those people. So your attention is simply gathering pieces of information, like the bellboy who greets you at the door, takes all of your different pieces of luggage or mental baggage, right? And says, hey, let me take you up to where you want to go. So check this out. You're always getting to where you want to go, right? Meaning based upon your own fears, based upon your own conditioning, based upon the things that you've accepted as true, whether they be emotionally true or not, right? Or valuable to you, they're going to take you where you want to go. It may not be where you want to be, but it's going to take you where you want to go. Okay. And the reason why I say want to is because you have to really, really be fully aware of the fact that your desires, even the way you define desire and what's possible and not possible, is always and will always, even Neville says this in Out of This World, will always be predicated or informed or fueled by your habit of identity. Okay. So that means however you've developed yourself, whatever identity that you define yourself as, whatever state of beliefs that you've come to accept as true, and you keep rehashing and practicing and rehearsing, those are what you are attending to. Okay. So then what you do is you take your focus off, and I'm going to give you a quick tip right now. Okay. So how can you actually and I'm looking at X's question here, right? How can you actually shift your attention away? Well, again, I want to answer that. Okay. And I'll probably end this in about 5 minutes. It's very short jumping on call. But basically, when you're trying to develop fully, being fully aware, part of the process is accepting that you have attended to, or that means you've gathered some baggage, like the bellboy in the Waldorf Astoria, right? And you've taken with you certain things, certain beliefs, certain emotions, certain memories, certain behaviors, right? Certain perceptive lenses that you keep rehearsing. Okay, and they become so hardened into fact, according to Neville, right? That you can't tell them apart from who you are and who you want to be. Okay, and so again, you are only doing, and I mean, science shows this, that your beliefs influence your emotions, and that your emotions influence how you interpret everything in your world. Okay. And so there is this verse, and it's a very powerful verse, and it's in Luke. And basically Jesus, who is the imagination, remember this is all written esoterically, it didn't actually happen, but he's as the imagination talking to demons, which is just an embodiment of your fear and limiting beliefs and all of those things that you accept as true of yourself, which are limitations, right? And he basically tells them to silence. Okay. And then it says he rebukes him. Now that word, yachak, right? I know it sounds like I just hawked a loogie, but that is the actual Hebrew word, right? Is really, if you drill down, is conviction or to be convicted. Okay. And so when it says that Jesus rebukes the demons into silence, which is like telling your doubts to silence themselves, right? Notice he doesn't sit there and have a conversation with them. He doesn't try to sit there and say, oh, you're not doubt, or hey, you know what, I can't afford this, or hey, this house is too big, or hey, escrow is going to get in the way, or hey, there's a third person and that's distracting my SP, or hey, you know what, I have bad credit, whatever it is. Notice he silences it. But how does he do it? He does it through rebuke. Okay, what is the word for rebuke? Well, it's the yachach, right? And what does that mean? It means to conviction. It It means self-conviction. So that means you don't sit there and try to explain why you have doubts. You don't even sit there and actually parlay and have a conversation and try to befriend your doubts. You literally become convinced, self-persuaded, and I'm going to do another video on how to do that. And it's probably going to be a recorded one rather than a live one, right? And you become the person that you want to be. You keep going. That's yet another way of saying it. You don't give airtime to worry. You don't give airtime to doubt. You don't give airtime to hatred. You don't give airtime to whatever it is that you're experiencing that is limiting you right now. You just don't. You don't sit there and talk to it. You don't try to talk it down. You don't try to talk it away. You don't do anything like that. You silence it by becoming who you want to be, right? So let me say it another way, in a very life coachy way, since I am a coach, right? Is that you know when you get haters and all this kind of stuff, and then you get told like, oh, you know what, show them. Like show them, right? That you like, and you'll see this on like old talk shows where people will be like told that they were bullied when they were in high school and they're like really overweight and really eating unhealthy. And then they come out and they're ripped and blah, blah, blah. They're like, yeah, I just wanted to show them that I could actually be this way. That's kind of what's going on, except you don't want to do it from a sense of lack or reaction or fear, is that you want to do it from the sense of, I am this person now. I already am that person, right? And so what you want to become is the person who already has everything that they want. That's how you rebuke. That's how you silence the demons. That's how you quiet any doubt or worry, right? You don't sit there, okay? Hey, Camille, you don't sit there and fight with your doubts. You don't sit there and try to explain them away. You don't sit there and try to write a list down and trace out. Now, I will encourage you to do that, because even Joseph Murphy encouraged you to do that, where you find the origin, right? But you don't sit there and just, now, if you're doing the work and you're trying to find the actual origin of the doubt, which I encourage you to do, that's different. That's not the same as, oh my gosh, I'm not doubting, right? Oh my gosh, I'm not fearing. All of these kinds of different things, right, are not actually spending time on your doubt, okay? But if you are, and you are trying to convince your doubt to go away, then you are not silencing your demons, according to scripture, right? You rebuke it. And again, back to so this is an actual technique. How do you overcome doubt and worry? You become what you want to be, right? You show the demons and like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care that you are making me doubt right now. I'm going to go and be the billionaire. I'm going to go and I'm going to show you, right? And again, it's not showing them from lack, it's showing from confidence, okay? It's being that person and accepting that you are that person. Are you with me? So again, how do you do that? Well, this is a quick NLP technique, okay? And this is parts integration. It's very powerful. I use this in my coaching. If you're interested in coaching, jump on, get in touch. I have a Discord. I'm in Camille's part of the Discord group. I think X might be or not. Click on that free Discord link there. Ask me about packages. Email me. There's an email there in my bio. But what you want to do, though, is you want to use this technique called parts integration. And the parts integration is simply where you sit mentally. This is what you're doing. You're constructing an imaginary scene, and you're sitting in a room, and you're basically imagining a circle of chairs, except this time one of the chairs is filled, okay? And that's filled with the emotion that you're currently dealing with. And you're gonna have a conversation with this emotion. Why are you here? What are you telling me about what I need to be aware of, right? And sit in the silence. If it takes you 3 days to actually hear anything, do those 3 days. If it takes you 7, do the 7. Okay, but parts of integration, and you can actually even Google this, put NLP parts of integration, it'll give you a breakdown. But the whole key here is to realize that you need to integrate those components. You need to heal those things, right? And rather than just silence your doubts and fears, find the origin and heal from them. That's the most powerful thing that you can do, because we're always in a state of overcoming, right? Paul says that you are overcomers. That means you're coming over something, right? And so, you know what I mean? I did some of this today. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like, but now it's in the context of worry. Now it's in the context of doubts. It's in the context of, you know, what you're dealing with in terms of having an identity that seems hard to break. And the reason why it's so hard to break is because you've given your attention to, you spotlighted the actual worries. And so what you need to do is you need to turn your attention away, spotlight who you want to become, and do everything in your power to almost kind of get tunnel vision and say, I'm only this person. I don't care what's going on around me. I just don't care. That's what it means to ignore, right? Where you're like, it's not part of me. It isn't part of me anymore. Hence why you do the parts integration, because you are healing from it, and that is no longer part of you, right? So yes, and yeah, Sandra, very good. Yeah. And again, faith is, an overused term in religious communities and spiritual communities, and people don't really know what it means. It's too abstract, and the reason why people struggle with faith is because the brain doesn't like abstract concepts. So faith is loyalty, but loyalty to what? It's loyalty to the unseen, but what else? Well, loyalty is what and I've shared this in my other lives before, is that, loyalty is like basically, if king or a queen, and you can use the king or queen as a metaphor for your desire, right? What are you doing? You're proving your loyalty to them. How do you prove your loyalty? Well, you then take your attention and say, I'm only going to focus on and interpret things in my reality that actually fit, right, the new narrative, that fit the new self, that fit the new character, that fit the new avatar, that is only, and militantly, you have to get to the point, right, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna shut everything else off, and I'm only gonna focus on those things that are proving to me, and that, by the way, is inclusive of your attention, yes, inner attention, inner emotions, right, and inner energy behind what you want. So you actually remove everything else. It's kind of like an internal house cleaning, and all you're doing, and that's what faith is. So faith isn't just like something that you have. It's something that you're actively doing and you're looking for in your environment, and you're participating in it by actually becoming faith. Not just saying, have my faith today? No, it's actually doing, how am I using my emotions? How am I using my words? How am I using my thoughts? Right? All of those things are actually showing your loyalty to the king or to the desire. And the way that you use that is through interpretation and perception, right? And so, yes, yeah, exactly, yes. Yes. And I'm actually going to do a workshop on that as well, in how to take your emotions that are so broad, right? And so nebulous sometimes, and actually laser focus them. So make sure that you join the Discord, because we do those little workshops, and they're so much fun, and we do them every Friday. So join the Discord if you can. It's, again, a link up there. If it's somehow, because I don't know why Discord does it, but it times it out, get in touch, email me, and I'll make sure that you get a link. But thank you for jumping on. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. I believe that you can use this, and I hope you do. And share with me your success story. So that's what I want most. So thank you again for all of your support. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Camille. Thank you, X, and anybody else that jumps on. So much love to you all, and I will talk to you soon. Much love. You too, as well. Have a great day.